Well, hey there, everybody. I'm so happy that you're joining me here for Teach My Class, where I get to teach your class different skills to help you become a better reader and writer. I'm really excited to present poetic devices to you. Poetry is really my absolute favorite thing to teach as a language arts teacher, and I hope that this lesson is going to be helpful to you. So, just a quick overview. My name is Mrs. Acero, and I have an online teaching store called All-in-One Middle School. I was a teacher for 34 years, and I love teaching language arts. I teach in mini lessons, which means they are short and to the point lessons, and you'll be very clear on what you should know by the end of the lesson. If you are looking to get guided notes for this lesson, they are available in my TPT store. And if you're using them, you'll be doing any writing and recording when you see this icon. If you don't have them, that's fine too. You're welcome to take a listen through. We will be doing a little bit of turn and talk, so it will be helpful to you if you know who your partner is before we begin. I hope you find it helpful, so let's get started. It's always good to have a mentor text to refer to when you're learning skills. It doesn't have to be in writing, however. Using songs are a great way to learn, especially with poetry. For this lesson, we are going to examine the song Firework by Katy Perry. Your teacher may prefer for you to use a different mentor text or song, and if so, when you're doing the note taking, just use whatever he or she tells you to use instead. So you're going to pause my video now and take a listen to Firework. The video link is in the comments of my YouTube description. I hope that you enjoyed the song, and I'd like to talk about now why we need to know poetic devices. There's no doubt that you have been listening to songs which are poems with music. Hopefully, you've also read some poems. If something is not a poem, it is referred to as prose. A regular novel, a letter, and a contract are among the many items that are classified as prose. Prose does, however, often contain poetic devices. Knowing poetic devices helps us to understand poems and prose, and it also helps us to become better writers. So let's get on board with our poetic devices. Today's goal is to understand that there are certain poetic devices to know and use when you are reading and writing. Knowing them will serve you well throughout your academic career. Today, we will go over some of the important terms that you will need to know. Some of this might be a review for you. Let's talk about similes and metaphors. Similes and metaphors both compare objects, but they do it in a slightly different way. A simile is a comparison of two unlike objects using like or as. For example, your eyes are as blue as the sea. A metaphor is a comparison of two unlike objects, but it does not use like or as. It uses is, was, are, and am. For example, morning is a new sheet of paper. I always feel like metaphors are a little bit stronger because they're saying that it is. It's not just that it's like a new sheet of paper, it is a new sheet of paper. But remember, you are comparing two unlike objects here. So something that's not a good example, the candy was sweet as sugar, because candy and sugar are very similar in people's minds. So you wouldn't want to compare them. Personification, giving an object human-like characteristics. Examples: the autumn leaves danced to the ground. The alarm clock sang to me, beckoning a new day. The wind whispered a secret to me, one that only we would know. You have to be careful here, though. It's not personification if you are giving it a quality that it already has. For example, the birds were singing this morning. Birds really do sing, so that would not be considered personification. Ocean waves were crashing. They actually do crash, so that would not be personification. So now you're going to try it. You're going to pause the video here and think about the song Firework or whatever mentor text you're using. Turn and talk to your partner about these poetic devices. Then you'll create your own example of each. If you have the guided notes, fill them in together. You can go ahead and pause the video now. Let's talk about idioms and hyperbole. An idiom is a descriptive expression that means something different than the usual meaning of its words. Examples: it's raining cats and dogs. Just hold your horses. Time to hit the hay. Okay, so they're expressions. Hyperbole, over exaggerating for effect. Example: my mom told me the same story a million times. This book bag weighs a ton. We were dying of laughter. Okay, so these are just different ways to get your point across in a more interesting way. Rhyme and alliteration. Rhymes. You probably know this one. Words with the same ending sounds. Examples: I couldn't believe she had tried to deceive. My coffee's so bitter and it gives me the jitters. School's out for summer, and for some, it's a bummer. Alliteration are words with the same beginning consonant sounds. Note, alliteration is about the beginning sound, not just the letter. So if you think of the letter C and the letter CH, the letter CH, they make different beginning sounds. Okay, so you have to be careful of that. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is alliteration. Green grass grew all over my yard. Notice here it's the GR sound. That first cup of silky, sweet, and ceremonial coffee. So even though these are different letters, they still make the same sound, and that would be alliteration. Now you're going to try it. Think about the song Firework. Turn and talk to your partner about the poetic devices listed here. Then you'll create your own example of each. If you have the guided notes, you're going to fill them in together. Pause the video, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, let's get into onomatopoeia and sensory images. Onomatopoeia are words that represent sound. Sometimes, but not always, you will see these words italicized or bolded for effect. Example: "Ooh," whispered the wind. The door slammed with a bang, bang. Swish, the basketball glided through the net. Sensory images are descriptions that involve the five senses: see, hear, touch, taste, smell. I will tell you, if you want one easy way to improve any of your writing, you can add in sensory description. Examples: I tasted the salty ocean air on my lips. The sand was silky beneath my feet. Seagulls squawked overhead. Now you're going to try it. Think about the song Firework. Turn and talk to your partner about these two poetic devices. Create your own example. If you have guided notes, fill them in together, and I'll see you in a moment. And that's a wrap, guys. So be sure to tune back in for more Teach My Class episodes. You can also check out my First Chapter Friday selections on my YouTube channel, where I'll read the first chapters of some of my favorite middle school novels. Hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody.